Don Mann, a retired Navy SEAL Team 6 member, scuba diver, a diving supervisor, and decorated combat veteran. It is great to have you with us to get your perspective this morning. We are all watching this so closely. We had a former Navy SEAL on last hour, and he compared this mission to climbing Mount Everest. You think about these young boys, most of them, if not all of them, don't even know how to swim, let alone dive. Help us better understand how treacherous this dive is.
Sure. Well, you know, as a basic scuba diver, if you go through diver rescue training is not as complicated as what these young boys are going to have to learn. It's really amazing to me how calm they are staying. You know, they found these boys sitting on a rock. They've been under there for days. And the food supplies, the water supplies, the oxygen levels, the rain rising, all these things going against them, and they're keeping a great attitude. But quickly, they have to learn to breathe, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, scuba, and they have to use these scuba tanks and scuba pony bottles to dive, crawl, walk, an escape route that's going to take over 10 hours. So it's an amazing feat what they have ahead of them. So the Thai SEALs I've worked with a number of times, they are exceptional at what they do, but they are not trained necessarily in this type of mission, so they have their work cut out for them as well.
So Don, can you explain these pony bottles you mentioned? We heard that earlier. And so walk us through. So if a boy is brought by a Navy SEAL and say they go underwater for a little bit, can they stay underwater for 30 seconds or 30 minutes or 5 minutes? How long is the oxygen supply? Are you constantly coming back up to the surface to breathe again? Just walk us through how they actually teach these boys to get back to safety.
Okay, so the plan right now is to have 2 divers with each boy. The boy's being rescued now has 3 divers with him. So 2 divers, they will have a spare regulator they can put in the boy's mouth at any time for an emergency. But they'll also have pony bottles, little scuba bottles that you can hold in your hand and put in your mouth, and you have a couple of minutes of air breathing the scuba pony bottles. So they're going to have the pony bottles and scuba tanks as backup. So what will happen, the divers, basically, they have to take off the tanks in certain areas where it gets really tight and narrow. There's a lot of twists and turns in this, where they go underwater for a while, they'll pop up, and they can take the regulators and scuba bottles out of their mouths, breathe air, ambient air, but when they have to go back in the water, they have to put the pony bottles of scuba back in their mouths. And if the water keeps rising, they'll need the scuba bottles more and more, obviously. And so will the little boys.
Oh, so they're underwater longer because the cave is filling up. Makes complete sense. As you look at this, what's your biggest concern if you were to be submerged in this? I mean, what are you're fully locked in, but what are you dialed in on the most to prevent?
You know, I've done cave diving, and I'm a rescue diver, and I've never experienced anything as arduous as what these young boys are experiencing the last couple of weeks. What you feel is a feeling of entrapment. And when you can't see a way out, and when you don't see light in a crack in the rock or something, you get a feeling of panic. The only time I've ever done cave diving, there's been nice lines showing you in and out of the way of the cave. Or even as a SEAL, if you're diving under ice, there's cables and lines you follow. This is all being set up for the boys, but never have I or anybody I know had to do an 8 to 10 hour exit. So I'm worried about the boys. I can't believe how relaxed they appear to be and how confident they are. So they're doing a great job. And they have Thai and they have the Aussie medics out there, some of the best medics you can have, and the Aussie divers. They have a great team rescuing them, but they have a lot going against them. They have time going against them, oxygen, food, and water levels rising.
Complicated operation. Thanks for your insights. You really helped break it down very well.
Man.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, and for your service.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.